We're whispering a little bit because they're closing up shop behind us here and there's no one in here, so our voices are echoing down the hall.
And you're going to see a lot of activity. They're taking things down. The team that obviously assembled everything is now breaking everything down. So those of you that have lived in the conference world know exactly what this looks like. So it gets kind of crazy and hectic.
Yes.
But so yeah, you're going to hear things, you're going to see things, and that's just part of this. So, But before we dive into a question, I think what we should talk about is our experience here at the Healthcare Staffing Summit down in Dallas. So do you want to share kind of what your experience was like here and talk about some of the highlights?
I have had a great time. I think the most exciting thing for me was actually just one of the speakers this morning. There was a panel of 4 contributors to our industry, some agency owners, talking about different trends in the industry and technology and things like that. But the exciting thing for us to hear was that, one of the questions they asked is, where do you see our industry in the next 10 years? In 2027, where do you see our industry? And, they were really positive about recruiters and the recruiter relationship and never being able to replace that human touch, and really just a heavy emphasis on recruiters. And so we were really excited to hear that. Obviously there's so much great technology out there now.
I was just going to say technology was a big topic here, and it should be.
Yes. But with that, not replacing the face of the recruiter and that recruiter-traveler relationship. So keep up the good work, guys.
So just to go into that a little bit more, that was probably the coolest thing to me, I think, is just to understand that in the years to come, probably in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, we're going to start to see, new technologies deployed within, staffing firms. Of course, it could be any company. It could be small companies, could be large companies, could be, tech companies that just decide to step into the space. I mean, we're seeing it already. So, but how are those technologies going to make things better for you as the recruiter, and then how are they going to impact the experience for the travelers too? So I think that there's some exciting things that are definitely coming down the pipe. And so that came out of this conference, and it was a focus. It was a real focus. And then the other part of that was what Sherry was talking about was, hey, look, it's not going to replace recruiters. It's actually going to enhance the experience for everyone. Once those technologies are deployed at the staffing firms, and I'm a firm believer that's exactly the direction that it's going, and then it'll allow the recruiters to actually spend more time engaging with travelers and building relationships. So a lot of the things that we know are extremely important to
we already knew how important you guys were, but it was just exciting to hear.
I want to say quick, just hi everyone. Thanks for joining live. Joseph, Lauren, Hannah, and Colleen.
Thanks guys for hopping on.
Appreciate that.
We know you saved your lunch break to be here, so thank you. Thank you very much. Our question this week came from a recruiter about VMSs and MSPs. I'm going to let Adam here just quickly kind of explain the difference. We interacted with a ton of different VMSs and MSPs while we were here. It's very exciting. But the question was, what's the difference and how to be a more effective recruiter in a heavy VMS and MSP market, which is what we're in right now.
So short answer is VMS is technology. VMS is just a software platform. It's just a tool that facility or group of facilities can use to staff open positions, open requisitions. So an example of that would be ShiftWise. I know a lot of you recruiters are familiar with ShiftWise. I mean, for good or bad, I guess. MSP. MSP is, an MSP is a managed service provider. Sometimes the confusion, I think, comes from the fact that MSPs do have VMS technology. They have platforms. But an MSP is essentially, it's an agency that actually subcontracts to sub-vendors, other staffing companies, to fill positions for a facility. So they have the exclusive contract with the hospital. The hospital then gives that particular agency the opportunity to fill those positions. The agency can go out and create partnerships with other staffing firms to fill those positions. So two very different things, but VMS again is that technology.
Right.
Some MSP platforms utilize the VMS software, and actually most of them do. Most of them have either acquired, like AMN's acquired ShiftWise, AMN's acquired what? I mean, you name it, Metafis. Anyways, but don't want to get off topic, but that's the distinct difference. VMS is not an agency, it doesn't fill positions, it's just software. MSP, staffing company,
people.
They have a recruitment branch that fills positions. They also sub those jobs out to other staffing firms to fill as well. So, and when it comes to fees, those fees are the biggest, talking point. And they vary anywhere probably from 3 to 7%. I think it's probably the highest that I've seen, but depending on the provider. So how are you more successful?
Yes.
What do you have to do?
Number one thing, speed to market.
Wait. First, let's back up. So we talked to a lot of representatives here, actually, while we've been in Dallas, at several different MSP providers. A couple of them that were extremely helpful.
They even had speakers talk about those things.
Right. These were topics that were discussed at length, and a lot of conversations that were had over drinks and behind the scenes as well. Shenanigans to try and figure out what's going on. You know,
right.
How can recruiters be more successful, more effective at getting their travelers interviewed and placed through VMS or MSP platforms? So I'm going to let you dive in.
Yeah, speed to market.
Speed to
market. The person who gets it there the fastest has the greater chance of getting placed.
Right.
You know, a lot of the client managers that we spoke with that work at these VMS or at these MSPs and send our candidates over to the hospitals, you know, they said if you're not the first, 5 or 6 travelers that get sent to them, that they're sending over and putting in front of the hospital, your chances are diminished greatly. So what does that mean for you as recruiters? Pipelining. You've got to have candidates in your pipeline that you know well, that you know what their needs and expectations are. You've got a complete full profile ready to go on them. They're not traveling to Europe for 2 weeks where you won't be able to get a hold of them on the phone. These are your solid A candidates that are ready to go at a moment's notice so that you can submit them to these hospitals, and first to submit is going to likely have a greater chance of getting those interviews.
What we're seeing and what we're hearing a lot of is success is really, it hinges on the relationship that you've developed with the traveler. Yes. And what do I mean by that? Well, depending on how well how good of a job you've done in creating a relationship, you're going to have more flexibility. So let me give you an example. A traveler that you have a great partnership with, they trust you, is going to give you authorization to submit them for positions as long as they match what that person's looking for. And you've got that free reign to go ahead and submit as long as everything lines up.
Right.
Those folks are going to get jobs first.
Right.
Because they've already given their recruiters, who they trust a lot, permission to go ahead and submit. So the recruiter's not waiting to get an answer back.
Right.
Once the job posts, they're going to send that file over. It's going to be one of the first 5 or 6 that are viewed, and they're going to get an interview and an offer.
But with that being said, one of the biggest complaints with our MSP partners is candidates not being closed on positions before we're submitting them to a job. So again, it's relationship and it's communication. You have to have those really strong, good relationships with your travelers. They have to be closed on location. They have to be closed on pay. You can do that with a preemptive conversation, like, hey, if I've got this job here that's paying this, you're ready to interview and open to accept the position if everything goes well.
And get that commitment.
Yeah.
We have our little saying is get the commit before the submit.
Yep.
Even
a quick
sure
text
that
message. Yep.
What's another thing that they can do if they want to be more successful with placement in a VMS or MSP environment?
Know your VMSs, know your MSPs, know their hospitals, know who are their good hospitals, so that when you get 500 jobs open in a week, you know that not all of those hospitals are going to interview quickly and move quickly with your candidates. So talk with them. The position of the account manager is not obsolete, and I hear a lot of people say that, the account manager, they're just data entry people. They just enter our jobs. Absolutely not. Those people should still be out pounding pavement, building relationships with these vendors and
the vendors
and
are partners.
Yes.
Yeah, the vendors are partners. Actually, the vendors have taken the client managers should be interacting with those vendors the same way that they would have functioned, back in the day with hospitals directly. So building relationships, really
Right.
understanding their processes, understanding the systems, understanding where they're falling short as an agency partner. So where are our profiles, for example? Are our profiles stacking up to other companies or
Right.
not? Is the quality of the candidate that I'm sending over the same or better than the other
Right.
agencies?
And communicate with them. Ask them for their advice. Ask them, how do our candidates look against the competition? It's something that you guys always wonder. Ask them. They want your candidates to be placed just as much as you do. Because remember, they're not going to make their 3% or their 7% unless
Right.
they're placing your candidates. So they want that just as badly as you do. And they want your candidates to get interviewed quickly and move quickly on these positions. So be a good partner. Know what the good hospitals are. Know where they're going to move quickly. Have your candidates ready to go. Have a very clean, easy to read profile. Have your candidates closed on those jobs, closed on pay as much as you can.
Yep.
That's what they're looking for. That's what it means to be a good partner as a recruiter with those MSPs right now.
Absolutely. And I think that's great advice. I think that's that's the direction that you've got to go if you want to be successful in the VMS and MSP.
Yeah.
They're not going away. They're actually
not
getting
going away.
stronger. They're looking for better partners.
Yeah.
We know that for a fact.
Right.
They are looking for
Better
agencies.
partners, not more partners, better partners.
Right. They're looking for agencies to come and talk to them about what they could even be doing potentially better,
Right.
As well as what the agency could potentially be doing better as well. So they're open and they're inviting agencies and recruiters and everyone to really reach out and have that conversation and to build those partnerships.
Right.
So pretty exciting stuff here. We're excited to have been a part of the Healthcare Staffing Summit.
Yeah, we've met some great people. Hopefully we'll have some great interviews coming down the pipeline for you guys. Stay tuned.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Adios, guys.
Adios.